Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel where we are teaching mathematics, helping those people that are writing their GCE exams and grade 12 exams. That is here in Zambia, people that are writing our GCE, most of them do not have time to go to class, they are working, others do not have enough resources to pay teachers, and I believe that this channel could be of help to any one of those people that are preparing for the GCE exams of grade 12, but they're having challenges here and there. Even those that may have teachers, but this could also help just to compare what is happening. Alright? So please make sure that to see more of these videos, you have to subscribe to my channel. Okay? So, we are looking at the one part of matrices, but today we're going to be solving simultaneous equation using matrices method or inverse method. Alright? So, when you look at the questions that I've given you, these are simultaneous equations. There are so many methods of solving simultaneous equations. We have got elimination method, we have got substitution method, we have got graphical methods. Yet again, we are adding another method of what? Solving simultaneous equations. Alright? So, just these examples, they have been gotten from this book. Okay? They have been gotten from this book. This is the source of this. So, if you have this book, you can refer to it and you'll be able to find these examples and some more. Alright? This is the owner of these. So, you have to, in case you have the book, you can get this and some more. So, how do we solve simultaneous equation using matrices method or inverse method? Okay? Inverse is the point here. It's more or less like, let me give you an example. When we have 2x multiplied, 2x is equal to 6, how do we solve? How do we solve this as an equation? How do we solve this as an equation? What we do, we have to multiply. We multiply both sides. We multiply both sides by the multiplicative inverse of this number here, which is 1 over 2. And even here we multiply by 1 over 2. That's the multiplicative inverse. But in most cases we say you divide both sides. But in the actual sense what we do is we divide both sides by the multiplicative inverse of that particular coefficient of the variable that we are looking for. So even in this point, that is the issue that is going to apply to us here. Alright? So without wasting much of our time, let's see how we apply this concept to solve. How do we solve this using the matrices method or inverse method? So the first thing that we are supposed to do, we need to get the coefficients here. We get the coefficients of these variables here in their rectangular form. We get like this one, the coefficient of this one is 1, the coefficient of this one is 2, the coefficient of this one is also 2, then here we have got 3. You take note of their signs. If it's a negative, it has to come here as a negative. That is very important. Alright? Then, here, we are going to bring the letters that we are looking for, because we want to find the value of x and y. This is equals to what? Now we write these ones. 8 and 14. This is what you're supposed to do, the first thing. When you're given a simultaneous equation, or when you're given simultaneous equations, you make sure you form this kind of an arrangement, where you have the matrix, the first one using the coefficient of this one, then you get the variables that we are looking for, which is x and y. They'll give you the second matrix, then you equate them to the answers. This will also be a matrix. So now, like I demonstrated in the first part, that first part which I demonstrated, what were we doing? We were multiplying both sides by the multiplicative inverse of 2. So even here, what I want you to know and understand is that we need to make sure that we multiply both sides by the inverse of this matrix. By the inverse of this matrix. But you know, when we multiply, in the actual terms, when you multiply anything by, for instance, its multiplicative inverse, it's like what we get is 1. So that is why, like this, where I have given you this one. Sometimes what we can do here, we can just remain with x, then we say 6 multiplied by, meaning when we multiply this 2 by its multiplicative inverse, it still gave us this, so there was no effect. So that is the same thing that we are doing here. So the first thing that we are supposed to do is to get, first of all, the inverse of this matrix. We need to get the inverse of this matrix. Please pay attention. We get the inverse of this matrix. That is very important. So when we get the inverse of this matrix, how do we get the inverse of this matrix? You know that the inverse of this matrix is equals to 1 over its determinant multiplied by its adjoint. Okay? The inverse of this matrix, it will be formed by this. So meaning we need to find the determinant and the adjoint to get the inverse. So what is the determinant? The determinant of this matrix, you know that its determinant is equals to the product of the elements in the main diagonal, which is 1 multiplied by 3. What do we get? 1 multiplied by 3 minus the elements in there. What do we get? This is going to give us 3 minus 4. We are getting negative 1 as our determinant. That is very important. We are getting negative 1 as our determinant. Then the adjoint. What do we do to get the adjoint? The adjoint of a matrix, is where we said this. That is why for these videos, if you follow them in the sequence that they are presented, because each topic they are presented in the order from lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson. So all these, the determinant, the adjoint have been presented in the previous lessons. So if you went there, you'll be able to make sure that even as you get there, it's a revision. So, but then we are saying to find the adjoint of a matrix. What we do is that these elements in the main diagonal, they will swap. Meaning, what are we talking about? The adjoint is going to, this 3 comes here, the 1 comes this side. So we have got 3, then 1 here. What happens to these ones? These ones, only their signs will change. In the minor diagonal, the signs will change. Or in other words, we're saying you multiply them by a negative. Okay? So meaning, we're going to have negative 2 and negative 2, like this. This is the adjoint. This is the adjoint. So meaning, the inverse of this matrix, is going to be 1 over negative 1, which is our determinant. Then the adjoint is 3. Then here we have minus 2 and 1. Okay? We are lucky here that we have negative 1 as our determinant, but in most cases it could be any other number. So you have to leave it as a fraction like that. So now, in this case, you need to distribute this one. When you distribute this one, what you're going to get is you multiply this one by 3, then you divide by 1. By negative 1, you're going to get negative 3. This one, negative 2, when you multiply, you're going to get negative 2 divided by negative 1, which is going to give you positive 2. The same thing here, also you're going to get positive 2. Then this one will give you negative 1. What have I written here? What I've written here is the inverse. What I've written here is the inverse. That is very important. Now, this inverse is what I was saying. We need to find the inverse of this one. Once we have found the inverse of this one, that is what we're going to multiply by this part. So, what I worked out here is the process of us finding the inverse. After we have found the inverse, we are assuming that we have multiplied this inverse by this one. You know the matrix that we get. Okay? So, we'll come this side. This we get like an identity matrix that doesn't change anything when we multiply by this one. So we'll come now to say this inverse that we got, we need to multiply it now by this one. Like what I was demonstrating. So now, from this point, we are going to get our x and y. Please follow me. Our x and y. Then we get the inverse and put it here. Minus 3, 2, 2 minus 1. The inverse that we got. After that, the inverse now we multiply it by 8 and 14. So we go on and on now. We work out this part, we multiply this part, we multiply this part until we get the final answer. So we play is, then we multiply these two matrices. How do we multiply matrices? Row by column, row by column. That is how we multiply matrices. I hope you're paying attention and you're following. So, when you multiply this one by this one, we get negative 24. Negative 24 plus, when you multiply 2 by 14, we get 28. We come to this one. 2 multiplied by 8, what do we get? We get 16. We get 16. Then negative 1 multiplied by 14, we get minus 14. Okay? Then we can say now x, y. We work out this part. What do we get? We work out this part. What do we get? What are we getting here? Alright? So negative 24 plus 28. What we are getting is 4. And here we are getting 2. Okay? Here we are getting 2. So, when you look at this point, it's a question of now equating them. X is equals to 4, y is equals to 2. X is equals to 4, y is equals to 2. So here I can say x is equals to 4 and y is equals to 2. These are the values of x and y. You know simultaneous equation. It's where we want to find the values of two variables when we are solving it together at once, and then we should find the answers. Like using the two equations, we should be able to get the values of the two variables. And these are the answers here for x as well as y. Now, you know, for simultaneous equation or any other, most of the questions in mathematics, there are things that you can prove. So let's try and see. We test these coordinates. Our x is 4 and our y is 2. Let's see. Our x is 4. When you put your 4 here, plus, our y is 2. You put your 2 here. 2 multiplied by 2, which is 1, you get 4. And it's going to add to 8. So it's correct there. We come to this one. 2 multiplied by 4, it's going to be 8. This one multiplied is going to be 6. When you add them, they'll give you that one. So these are the correct values of x and y. Alright, let's go to the second example. Let's go to the second example. So as you have seen here, the simple work that you have is just to find the inverse. Once you have found the inverse, then the work is done. Alright? So we come to the second one. Let us extract the matrices. So we have 2, 5, 3, minus 2. And this is our x and y. If we had any other letters here, maybe m and n, those are the ones that we are going to use here. Alright? Then we come to 5 minus 6. What I said is that we need to find the inverse of the matrix here. To find the inverse of this matrix, then we multiply it by this one to get the values of it. Because when we get the inverse of this matrix and multiply it by this one, we get an identity matrix, which is, even when we multiply it by this one, we'll still get the same thing. Okay, so that is why I say after you've gotten the inverse, you just bring it to the other side. Because the identity matrix this side, it won't change anything. Alright? So, let's find the inverse of this one. Determinant first. What we get, this gives us minus 4 minus 15. Wow. Are we together there? Negative 4 multiplied by that, then this is what we get. So our determinant will be negative 19. That is what is going to be our determinant. Alright? Then, at this point, we find the adjoint. The adjoint of this matrix. How do we find the adjoint? Say these have to switch positions, so we're going to have negative 2, 2 here. These ones, they change signs, or you multiply them by negative, right? Which is going to be negative 5, negative 3, like this. So this is our inverse. This is our inverse. This is our adjoint. Then our inverse now. You know that our inverse is going to be 1 over the determinant mod O. Then we have the adjoint here, like this. Alright? This is our inverse now. So, having found our inverse, remember what I said. We need to multiply this inverse by this matrix to get the values of x and y. So we say x and y is equals to, you bring the inverse first, you start with the inverse, then 2, then 5, 2, then we have 5, and negative 16. Okay? So, then like I was saying, we work out this part. We just have to work out this part here. Alright? We just have to work out this part. So, please do not distribute this one at this point. Don't distribute this one at this point. Because you're going to have challenges with multiplication. You're going to have challenges with multiplication. So don't distribute this one at this point. First, work out with this one. Leave the fraction outside first, but you'll go in it. So, we are going to work out this first with our 1 over negative 19. Negative 2 multiplied by 5. What do we get? We get negative 10. Then, when you multiply 3 by 16. This is a negative and this is a negative. What are we getting? 3 multiplied by 6, we get 18. Okay? And 3 multiplied by this one, it will be 1. Then plus that one, we get, it will be 3. Then plus that one, we get 4. The minus and the minus, we get a positive. Okay? Then, from this point now, take note that we had a plus here. Okay? Take note that we have a plus here. Then, from this point now, we need to come to the second part. We need to come to the second part and say negative 5 multiplied by 5, we get negative 25. Plus 2 multiplied by 16. This is going to be minus 32. Okay? It's going to be minus 32. This multiplied by that, we get this one. And this one also get this one. Okay? So now, we see what we're supposed to get now at this point. We see what we're supposed to get. So we have to simplify this. We go on with this part as it is 1 over, okay? Remember, this is equated to x and y. Remember, this is equated to x and y. So, then here we have to simplify these ones. So what are we getting here? What are we getting here? We're getting 38. Alright? We're getting 38 here, which is a positive. Then when we come to this one, what are we getting? These are negatives, both of them. So it's like we're going to add them and keep a sign. How do we add? You write, you have got your 30, then you've got your, let's add these. What are we getting? Okay? We have 57 minus. Alright? Take note that even on this part, we still have x and y equated to this. Alright? So from there, now we go further and say x, y. Then you distribute each one of these because we need now to multiply. I don't know the way that you would be comfortable with, but one of the ways in this case, maybe let me separate them. When you want to find the value of x, okay, we're going to multiply this fraction by the first one. So we're going to say for x, it is equal to 1 over negative 19 multiplied by 38. Okay? What are we going to get? You know that this is the same as 38 divided by negative 19. That is what it means. And this is going to give us negative 2. Then for y, you say 1 over negative 19, again multiplied by negative 57. Alright? So we look at how many times does 19 go into 57? Alright? So here, what we are going to get is y is what? Positive 3. Y is positive 3 in the sense that when you look at the positive, because we have a minus and a minus here. So our answers would be negative, and then y is 3. These are the answers. I've given you 2 examples, and I'm sure they have made our work very easy. Okay? So this is what we're supposed to know about this part. These things are also there in your syllabus, and you're supposed to make sure that you do the practice. It is very important, like I said, a lot of you people are following these things. While we've got challenges, give us a comment, and to continue seeing this kind of videos and postings, please subscribe to the channel and give us a like and stuff like that. So, these are the 2 questions that we did as examples. Then I have also given you 3 for your practice. And if you look at this one, maybe I should mention to you that, what you need to do is, these 2 you take them to the other side and you know what is supposed to happen. Then they will become simultaneous equations because these will change their signs. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I always keep encouraging you to do your best. Thank you so much.